There is a very specific scent that has been programmed into our brains to represent success. It is that crisp smell of fresh leather in factory plastics. We call it the new car smell. To most people, it represents a milestone of making it in the world. But to a forensic accountant, that smell is actually the scent of money being set on fire. It is the olfactory signal that you have just made a very destructive financial decision. We obsess over the price of a small coffee or a $10 streaming subscription. Yet we walk into a dealership and sign away $1,000 a month without blinking. We tell ourselves that everyone has a car payment. We tell ourselves it is just a part of life. But that sentence is the biggest lie keeping the middle class permanently broke. The car payment is not just a bill you pay every month. It is a wealth transfer mechanism that funnels millions from your future into the pockets of banks. Today, we are going to perform a brutal autopsy on the American obsession with the automobile. We will break down the predatory math of the 84-month loan. I will show you why your truck does not cost $50,000. It actually costs you $2 million of your personal freedom. Here is the fundamental problem with how we view vehicles. We view cars as assets and put them on our net worth statements. But a car is not an asset because an asset puts money in your pocket. A car is a liability that depreciates like a stone falling into the ocean. The moment you drive that shiny machine off the lot, the depreciation cliff hits. You lose 10 to 20% of the value in the first 60 seconds. Imagine if you bought a stock for $50,000 and it was worth $40,000 a minute later. You would panic and feel sick to your stomach. But with a car, we celebrate this loss and post pictures of it on social media. The dealership model is designed to hide this destruction using a psychological trick. When you sit down in that glass office, they do not want to talk about the total price. They only want to talk about one thing, which is the monthly payment. What payment are you comfortable with today? That is the trap that catches millions of hardworking people. By focusing only on the monthly payment, they can hide the true cost of the loan. They stretch the payments out over 7 or even 8 years. They take a $60,000 truck that you clearly cannot afford, and they make it look affordable at $850 a month. But you are not paying for a car at that point. You are drowning in interest for a vehicle that will be rusting before you own the title. You might be thinking that you need a reliable car to get to work. Reliability and expense are not the same thing. The idea that you need a brand more car for reliability is a very profitable lie. According to long-term reliability ratings, some of the best vehicles are 5 years old. A 5-year-old Toyota with 50,000 miles is not less reliable than a more one. In many ways, it is more reliable because its defects have already been addressed. And here is the best part of that strategy. The first owner already took the massive depreciation hit for you. Someone else paid $20,000 for the privilege of driving it first. You get to buy the same essential transportation for a fraction of the cost. Let us look at the true cost of ownership, which goes far beyond the sticker price. Most people look at the price tag and stop right there. But that is just the entry fee to the game. You have to pay sales tax, which is thousands of dollars gone instantly. Then there is the finance tax in the form of interest rates. At current rates on a $40,000 loan, you might pay $9,000 in interest. That is pure profit for the bank and pure loss for your family. Then you have the higher insurance premiums for a more vehicle. Then you have the maintenance on modern cars, which are basically rolling computers. When a sensor in your bumper breaks, it is no longer a $50 fix. It is a $1,500 calibration job at the dealership. When you add up the tax and the interest and the insurance and the depreciation, it is shocking. That $40,000 car will cost you $70,000 over 5 years. And at the end of those 5 years, the car is only worth $15,000. You essentially lit $55,000 on fire. That is $11,000 a year just to move your body from point A to point B. But the real tragedy is the opportunity cost of that money. This is the ghost wealth that you destroyed by signing that lease. Let us run a simple simulation for a moment. The average car payment in 2025 is hovering around $750. Let us round that up to $800 to include the higher insurance. If you are 25 years old and you choose a reliable used car instead, and you invest that $800 monthly payment into the stock market. If you do this for your working career until you are 65, With an average return of 10%, do you know how much money you would have? You would have over $5 million sitting in your account. Let that number sink into your mind for a second. The decision to drive a more car every few years costs you $5 million in retirement. You are not just driving a Ford or a Chevy. You are driving your financial freedom and your ability to retire early. When you see a luxury SUV on the highway, do not look at it with envy. Look at it with pity, because that person is driving a $5 million liability. They are stripping the gears of their own future to look rich in the present. This leads us to the negative equity trap, which is becoming an epidemic. Because people trade in cars every 3 years, they often owe more than the car's worth. The dealer then rolls that negative equity into the MOI loan. Now you are paying interest on your MER car and your old car at the same time. I have seen people paying $1,200 a month for a basic sedan. They are carrying the ghost of every bad decision they ever made in their trunk. They are underwater and drowning in debt while driving a depreciating asset. So why do we continue to do this to ourselves? It comes down to two things, which are safety marketing and status signaling. Car companies have convinced us that we are bad parents if we do not drive a tank. They prey on our fear by asking if we want our families to be safe. But the data shows that a 5-year-old car is statistically almost as safe as a newer one. Safety innovations have plateaued, and you are paying a huge premium for a tiny gain. Then there is the issue of status and looking successful to others. The car is the ultimate public display of wealth because you cannot wear your bank account. You wear your car as an avatar of who you want people to think you are. We justify it by saying we work hard and we deserve a nice ride. These are just rationalizations for buying self-esteem with high-interest debt. And the irony is that nobody is actually impressed by your car payment. They are only looking at your car and imagining how cool they would look in it. We are all narcissists looking into mirrors while the banks get richer. We also have to talk about the leasing scam, which is often pitched as the smart way. Leasing is the most expensive way to operate a vehicle, period. When you lease, you are financing the steepest part of the depreciation curve. You are paying for the car during the years when it loses the most value. And then you give it back right before the depreciation curve flattens out. It is a subscription service for poverty that leaves you with zero assets at the end. And in 2025, the traps are getting even more sophisticated. We are seeing the rise of subscription features where you pay monthly for heated seats. The manufacturers realize that selling you the car once is not enough. They want to turn you into a recurring revenue stream forever. If you buy a modern connected car, you are no longer the owner. You are just a user whose data is being sold to insurance companies. Driving an older car is not just a financial hack, it is a privacy hack. So what is the actual solution to this madness? You do not have to drive a rusted-out vehicle from the 90s. There is a middle ground called the sweet spot strategy. The depreciation curve of a car is steepest in the first 3 to born years. By year 5, the car has lost 60% of its value, but has 80% of its life left. That is the arbitrage opportunity you should look for. Buy a car that is 4 or 5 years old and let the first owner take the $20,000 hit. And then, the most important step is to drive it until the wheels fall off. Keep that car for 10 years and enjoy the period where you have no payment. That is a golden period where you build real wealth. If you must finance a car, you should follow the 23-8 rule. Put at least 20% of the price down as a deposit. Finance it for no more than 3 years or 37 months. And the monthly payment should be no more than 10% of your gross income. If you run these numbers on a $60,000 truck, you will see you cannot afford it. The math will force you into the $25,000 car where you belong. Most people are doing zero down for 80 Portang at 15% of their income. They are mathematically ensuring they will never be able to retire. This transition requires a massive ego death for most people. You have to be willing to be the person with the older car in the parking lot. You have to realize that the person in the more Mercedes next to you is likely broke. They are one layoff away from losing everything they have. But you and your 5-year-old Toyota are free and have peace of mind. Cars are just tools and appliances to get you from one place to another. They are not investments and they are not extensions of your soul. Stop loving a machine that hates your bank account. Start loving the smell of a growing net worth and a secure future. The next time you feel the urge to upgrade, Calculate the opportunity cost. Ask yourself if that shiny metal box is worth $5 million of your life. The answer is always no. Choose your freedom over your image. Choose your future over a monthly payment. Your older self will thank you for the discipline you show today.